Greetings, esteemed guests, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Karis, and I'm an artist and creature creator, and today I have a very interesting video for you guys. So there is a top secret project that I have been working on in my house. I know sometimes you guys like to see the fun things that I do to my home. Clearly, I do a lot of silly things. And there is a particularly silly project that I have been working on since February. And so today we are going to be working on a piece of this bigger project. I don't want to spoil too much about what's to come, but we are working on something fun in my bathroom. And it seems like a lot of the people in the creative space right now are working on mirrors. I've been seeing people covering their mirrors in moss, putting mushrooms on things, or making these really elaborate whimsical mirrors. So it seems like right now a lot of people are taking old mirrors and customizing them to make them something a little bit more special and fun. I'm just really excited to create something cute and whimsical and fun and ridiculous. That's the aim of today. So if you like cute, whimsical, fun, and ridiculous, let's get started. Now this project started out exactly the same as most of my others, with something I'd hoarded and didn't know what to do with, namely these two mirrors. The vibe that we are going for in the bathroom, just so that you can be aware of the decisions I'm making, is a fairy Barbie vibe. I took pictures of everything so that I could sketch what it was going to look like, including these little wooden pieces that I'd found in my stash. I did a few preliminary sketches, and ultimately the gold mirror was out of the running because I realized that the heart one could look like something out of a magical girl movie. What I'm doing here is individually isolating the elements so I can combine them together, and this whole process was made wildly more difficult by my son's flagrant display of disgusting behavior. Help. Now here is our completely finished concept, including that great selfie that I took in the mirror. And now that I have my design all figured out, it's just time for me to organize all of these woods into the correct configuration and then clamp them into place.
The clamps, see? Give them the clamps.
I thought that I would try something for the first time, which is using this 2-part epoxy glue, because I'd heard that it was good for combining things with these sorts of textures.
I just want to try and make as much contact between the Gorilla Glue and the mirror surface as I can. So I'm going to use these guys. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it works out. This ice cream clamp is great. I should have bought 100 of these ice cream clamps. There's only one in here and it's like literally the best clamp. I wish I had more of them, so if you find them anywhere, please send me one. You would be my hero.
Oh, Papa, he's coming. He's coming to do a check-in. What did you want to tell them what you think? Okay, he doesn't want to tell you what he thinks. You already know what he thinks. He thinks he wants to shark his mom. When they start circling you, I call that he's sharking me. I'm getting sharked by my cat. So we just finished up gluing all of those extra pieces to the mirror with the epoxy. I have a couple of doubts about how well the epoxy is going to work. That's why I put the extra clamps in there, because I wasn't sure how sticky it was. I've never used it before. I guess we'll see tomorrow when I go and check on it. Oh no! Karis out! I love you too. Mwah. Well, this one was on its last legs and could have exploded everywhere. Oops. Good enough. Oh yeah. Oh no! Well, that's a disappointment. It actually wasn't that bad. I just reattached it with hot glue, and I could have just done that from the start. So with our epoxy sculpt, it is a 2-part sculpting medium, so we have to mix equal parts of this together, kneading it together. So I've got my little scale here. We're just going to weigh each piece out, and then I'm going to take some time smushing it together violently. It's time to strengthen my wrists. Make them so hardcore. Take a break. You deserve it.
When you first mix the epoxy together, it's gonna be really sticky, so it is actually important that you do give it a break, because that makes it more workable and easier to smooth out in the long run. Because this project is so huge, I actually thought that maybe using some molds would have been a great idea, but they ended up disappointing me deeply. I am not a fan of that, and I'm gonna need to make these from scratch. Ugh. The first step of this project is to fill in all the gaps with the epoxy sculpt and make sure that nothing is going to pop off like it did before. I'm 5 minutes into this project, and I've just realized that for however long it's going to take, I have to stare at myself looking like this. This is gonna be a truly humbling experience. Humbling, I would say, is an understatement, because we had to hand sculpt all of those leaves that I was talking about earlier, and let me tell you, that was quite the lengthy experience. Hope this isn't going to be an issue, because this whole piece here is lifting up. I'm going to reinforce that with a little bit of hot glue, I think. Ugh. Not good.
So the clay has officially reached a point where it is no longer workable, but I managed to do okay. We've only got that left. So I am going to leave this to dry for the evening, and then I will come back to it and work some more tomorrow. So it is the next day. Everything has dried and is looking pretty spifferoony. When I went to bed last night, I was lying there thinking about things, and I realized that I want to overcomplicate this project like I do everything. I want to give the mirror fairy wings. What I'm going to work on tonight is I am going to finish the rest of the sculptural work on this mirror, hopefully, and then maybe start the framework if I have enough time. If not, I will start the framework tomorrow. Framework being for the fairy wings.
Yes, I've made it more complicated, but I'm having a good time, and that's what art is about, guys. If you're not having a good time, then why are we doing it?
I do have to say that I think my favorite part of this project was sculpting all of these little tiny flowers and putting them out on top of the mirror. It looked like they were floating in water, and it just added such an extra layer of whimsical wonder to me that made my inner child sing. Very pleased with the result of these. And with over 20 hours of sculpting in the past 2 days, we wrapped it up and went to bed. Good night!
It's Friday, which means I'm lazy today.
Which means I will be wearing a onesie and watching Korean dramas.
Beef is being incredibly helpful. Really appreciate the added hair to the design. It's giving everything that je ne sais quoi.
For the framework, I'm using these thick sheets of watercolor paper. I kept going back and forth, holding it up against the mirror to make sure it was the right size.
Great talent, a butt artist of the century.
The butt artist of the century only allowed me to get a very minimal amount of work done while I was on the floor, so I ended up working on these wings the next day using the template that I was able to make in between scratching him and letting him drool on everything.
Cat has drooled on my template. I'm gonna have to do this one over.
I do not currently have the luxury of owning a laser cutter, so all of this was done by hand, and it took me a solid 2 days, which was a lot of work.
So I just finished cutting out all of the wings. My wrists are not happy with me after all of that.
Feels like tenderizing meat.
Initially, because the paper is watercolor, I was gonna go ahead and do some sort of like a neat watercolor effect on the wings, but after some reflection, I really want the silhouette to stick out and be bold. So I am just gonna use one color so that it's easily readable, it's not confusing about what it is, because I don't want things to look like a mess from far away. She said after adding 600 different elements, I'm not too much, I'm just enough. And so are you. I'm just going to go ahead and go over everything with a little bit of acrylic paint. Let that dry a few times. I've got a garden party that I'm about to go to, so I'm gonna paint up the wings, head off to the garden party, and then come back, flip them over, do the other side. I'm gonna try and have the wings done today. So I have painted all of the wings. I've got both sides thoroughly coated. It's been a couple of days and I'm sick right now. I don't know if my voice sounds funny or not. I'm not feeling too great, but I want to get these wings finished. So we're gonna go outside and I am going to spray them with the adhesive and add the cellophane. And then I might put something on top of them to press them so that they're nice and flat. We will see.
So stressful. It's like 6,000 degrees and that was the most stressful thing I've ever done. I want a cookie right now.
Wait. You're alright, mate. I'm just winging it, mate.
I am sick, but at least I have a cookie. It's helping you get me through. I am now going to tape off this mirror. It's gonna take me a long time, so I'm just gonna hunker down and I hope you enjoy some movie magic, because by the time you see me, I'll probably be well again and quite energetic. Let's do this.
It's done! Let's go airbrush!
The painting on the mirror is done. I'm so excited. It looks so cool so far. I'm going to sit on the floor and use my hairdryer because I'm a little bit of a cheapskate. I don't have a heat gun. That kind of helps it to seal around the edges a little bit. I'm also gonna trim this up so that it's nice and sticks around the edges instead of being so big. And then I'm gonna paint some fine details onto the mirror once the airbrushing coat is dry. I'm almost finished. I'm so excited. The last day of this project involved me squatting on the floor to attach the fairy wings to the mirror because I don't have a wireless hot glue gun and I need one.
You guys know of a good one? Let me know in the comments, please.
It was actually pretty easy to get the wings attached with the hot glue. I just had to be gentle because of all the decorations. And I also indulged the idea of painting the wings before quickly deciding that's not what I wanted to do. Found these little tiny pearl beads inside of my craft stash. So I'm going to pop some of those on there as well to add an extra flair of class and elegance. Let's get everything all finished up and then I'll show you the final reveal. I wanted some of the elements of this design to pop, so I added some white specifically on the rabbit heads, and we also decided to do some gold leafing. Typically I feel like you're supposed to attach it with some glue, but I haven't had any issues with using a little bit of paint and then just rubbing it off with a dry brush. I find that just having these little bits of gold add a layer of professionalism and makes everything pop. Tape removal is always a little bit nerve-wracking for me because you never know if you've missed a spot until you take it off. Turns out I didn't do too bad of a job, so we're just going to clean up a little bit with some of this isopropyl alcohol from some of the epoxy that I left behind, and also taking some tweezers and just pulling out the little bits of tape that I had to get in all of the little crevasses. Now that I've cleaned everything to the best of my ability, it's time for the moody glamour shots. Enjoy! Finished all the moody glamour shots, my husband helped me to hang this up in our bathroom where it will be in its final resting place until I start the second part of this project in my next video.
There it is. That's my fave. Have one.
It's done! This isn't the end of this project. There is more of it to come. I am going to be doing something else in this room. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click the subscribe button so that you can watch me do more stuff next to my toilet. Maybe this is where I should be doing my segments from now on, just like sitting on the floor hanging out next to my John. I feel eerily relaxed in this setting. No big deal, just me leaning on a toilet. I mean, that's where I belong, I guess.
You're my best friend.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to slap some of those buttons so the robot overlords know that I'm doing a good job and they'll show me to more people like you. You can also check out my online shop. We've got a bunch of really cool goodies there. I sell art, stickers, prints, plushes, a whole bunch of really cool things. And by supporting me there, you help me make more fun, silly content like this. And lastly, I hope you remember that you're good enough today, and I hope you remember that whatever you do, whatever you create, whatever you're up to, it's enough. You're enough. I believe in you. My toilet believes in you. I believe in you, guys. You can do it. I'm gonna go eat some waffles now. Okay, I love ya. Bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye. This is one of those days where you're grateful for your life, for your friends, your husband, and your wife. It's all about the he said, she said friendship. Oh, Don Piano.